Let's watch some Greg and Tim show clips.
So topic number 1 today, Tim. You decided that this topic was something that you wanted to talk about. I cared less, but I digress.
It was something that was in the news. It was in, people were talking about it.
Yeah.
When people are talking about it, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's just something I never noticed. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I didn't watch it on TV, all that kind of stuff. So I had to do some research, and I did.
Yeah.
The pass interference call on the Packers and the Chiefs, the bad reffing in the NFL that's going on right now. Tell me about it.
So specifically, and there's a bigger question I have to propose to, and we can talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
But specifically what I'm talking about is the Chiefs-Packers game at Green Bay, Lambeau Field, and the last drive. The Chiefs were down by 8, so there was 2 questionable calls. One was a play in which Patrick Mahomes was running to the sidelines, and he might have been 5 centimeters from the sideline.
And they called
the defensive player hit him, and he went out of bounds, and they called a late hit.
Yep.
The argument was he wasn't out of bounds. His foot still hadn't hit the white, and so he was technically, it shouldn't have been called a pass interference. Number 1.
Roughing the passer.
So 15 yards.
Not pass interference, roughing the passer.
15-yard penalty. 1 or 2 or 3 plays later, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Mahomes throws a deep ball to Marquise Scantley.
I think it was the next play.
It was the next play. At the 4-yard line, and the defender literally tackles him before the ball, and no call.
It was super obvious too.
And so I'll give you my take. The second one, I think most everyone would agree on. Packers fans are going to argue, well, if they weren't for the first play and not being called,
they wouldn't have had
the second play. But there's no argument about call number 2. It was just a bad call, miscall, whatever you want to call. The first call, everybody is saying that one thing: he wasn't out of bounds. Why is it a penalty? Here is my take, and you can argue against me, as you always do. What's the difference between that play and a quarterback starting to slide down and giving himself to the ground when it's obvious he's starting to go down? If a player starts to hit him in that play, he is pass interference because he is giving himself, that quarterback is giving himself up to the ground and he's intending to go down. In the play out of bounds, my opinion is this:
he was running out of bounds.
He's clearly running out of bounds. The player can hit it. The player can see that. I know people are saying he's going to start running down the sideline. He's not. His eyes are clearly out on the sideline. If the play was 5 millimeters or 5 centimeters more and his pinky toe is touching the ground, then nobody's up in arms. But because he's literally this much from the out of bounds, people are up in arms that it's such a bad call. What's the difference between the 2 plays?
So I was watching, like I said, I did some research on this because I didn't know what you were talking about originally. The announcer that I saw break it down said that if the guy didn't knock Patrick Mahomes out of bounds, Patrick Mahomes might have had the chance. No, you're saying no, but you're not there for that split second of football.
Yeah.
Right? The split second of football for the guy that's tackling Patrick Mahomes is, I can't have him cut back in on me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to knock him.
He's clearly not cutting back. There is nothing in any of his body.
I think that if you were a football player, a defensive football player at that, you would be 100% going after whoever's inbounds and whoever has the football. And you're doing it legally by not hitting him in the head.
Even if you're this close to the out of bounds.
Yes. I've seen Patrick Mahomes escape things. And who knows what he could have escaped. The other thing is, I don't know what the rule specifically is for this, but if the player is going backwards out of bounds, the clock continues to run.
Right.
So if the player is knocked down before he gets out of bounds, the clock would have continued to run.
Right.
So that's another thing that has to be taken into account, is that they're trying to keep the clock moving.
Right.
Whereas Mahomes is trying to stop the clock.
It's an opinion question, I guess, but based on what the player is thinking, it looks like the player is just trying to take a shot at Mahomes. I don't think he's thinking all these things he might cut back. I think he's just trying to take a shot.
I don't know. He did it with his shoulder.
He's unaware of where
he did it with his shoulder. He did it legally.
And again, my point is, if he's this much further, nobody's up in arms. But because he's this much to the inside of the line, they're up in arms.
Yeah.
It's literally this much. He's that close. He's not like a foot away.
So that pass interference call, though, has nothing on 11 years ago.
Okay.
Replacement referees.
Right. Before we move on, can we go back to it for 2 seconds?
Sure.
Or do you want to talk about the overall?
I was just talking about bad reffing in general.
Okay. So the question I have to pose to you is a bigger one, and I just don't want to forget that I'm going to ask this question. But in this day and age where players are better, stronger, faster, to assume referees are worse, to me, makes no logical sense. I would think they're better than they were 5, 10, 15, 20 years
100%
ago.
they are.
Is it a case
they're in shape?
Is it a case? Yeah, exactly. Is it a case that they're worse, or is reffing under a microscope in 2023 and 2020 and years, the more HD we get, the more slow motion we get, the more we break down every single play from our seat with our butt on the couch. That we didn't have 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Is it just under a microscope more? Is it like
100% it is.
Yeah. When you look at a pimple and it's in HD and it's clearly, as the closer it gets, that pimple's larger. Yeah. Right.
No, I know you want me to disagree with you, but I don't.
I would prefer if you did. The show goes much better when you disagree with me.
But I don't disagree with you. And the reason why I'm bringing up the replacement refs from 11 years ago is because just remember back to 11 years ago when you had one ref that was a replacement ref versus when they got the regular refs back, how night and day it was between the caliber of reffing.
Yeah.
Like the Packers-Seahawks incident 11 years ago is like a black eye on the NFL forever without replacement refs. Yeah. When one ref calls the game and the other ref calls a touchdown after they talk to each other. So, and like I did a little bit of looking up on that, those were NCAA 2 refs.
Right.
So those weren't even like the best of the best.
Right.
Because NCAA was also playing at the same time.
So they'd be predisposed at the time.
Yeah. So when you look at one to the other, to your point, we are really, really trying to dig in to when something happens, as opposed to just accepting that the refs are human and things happen at a very fast speed.
Yeah.
As John Madden says, there's holding on every single play. It's just a matter of when they're going to call it.
Yeah, that 1 second rule, right? You can hold it for a second,
but you got
2, but not 3.
1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, 3 steamboat. So anyway, I don't think that the reffing has gotten bad in the NFL. I think that we're just really judging it.
And here's my other pet peeve. Is people on social media, fans who always think that the best team is getting the calls. You know, whoever's winning, that team, they always have the memes with their, and that's celebrating. If it's Mahomes, he won a Super Bowl. So I guess all the refs are in his corner wanting to call a penalty. It's all a big conspiracy with the league. But Tom Brady, same thing. Whoever's winning, people just don't like that they're winning. So they must be winning for another reason.
Hey, thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show clips. Just a reminder that if you want to watch more clips, you can click the little guy in the middle here and subscribe to us. Or you can click on the one in front of Tim or the one in front of me. Either one of those will take you to another video of ours. Or subscribe. Just subscribe.
Thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show clips.